Yeah, the list of resistance to the Dobbs decision is long and growing. I mean, we haven't seen this since the civil rights struggle when you had the diehard segregationists fighting against Brown versus Board of Education. This is the same sort of playbook that they're doing everything they can to thwart the will of the people in pro-life states that now, after Dobbs, have the ability to actually protect unborn life. And you see in the Department of Defense policies that Senator Tuberville is standing strong to make sure that DOD isn't funding abortion tourism with your tax dollars for our service members, that it's not paying for the indemnification of criminal abortions by DOD doctors, which the Biden administration is saying is perfectly fine. Abortions at the VA now being done at turning VA hospitals into abortion clinics. And one that most people wouldn't even imagine, HIPAA. They're taking HIPAA rules and saying that you cannot cooperate with law enforcement in pro-life states if you're a medical practitioner in order to help save a baby's life, if you have information that could actually help save that baby's life. They have not left any stone unturned to resist the Dobbs decision, which is resisting the Constitution.
It is remarkable. You wrote this incredible column about the HIPAA rule change because when I first came to Washington 35 years ago, I met an old Wiley, Wisconsin senator. He said, listen, son, in Washington, nothing is what it seems. So you look at the HIPAA rule and itself, this looks like just some gobbledygook about it, but it really was a direct assault on states that have pro-life laws. Talk a little bit more about how that plays out. Your column did such a good job of showing how something that sounded one way actually had a profound effect on really abortion.
And I take this one personally because I was the nation's HIPAA regulator.
That's right.
Under the Trump administration as head of the Civil Rights Office at HHS. So I know exactly what they were doing. One of the first enforcement actions we did, you have a right to your own medical records. And one of the first actions we did enforcing that law was making sure that a mother had the right to the medical records of her child's fetal heart records, right? An unborn child. So we recognize that unborn children are patients. This HIPAA proposed regulation is going to write out unborn persons from the law, literally saying a person does not include unborn human beings. That is so aggressive and so offensive. And by the way, states generally have the ability to determine those sorts of questions of life and death when it comes to the practice of medicine. No, they're trying to federalize this and say that human beings, if they're unborn, don't count under federal law. And if you want to cooperate with law enforcement on that fundamental question, you cannot. You could even go to jail as a medical professional if you violate this proposed rule that the Biden administration is proposing. This is just chilling the cooperation that normally law enforcement has with the medical profession that fully respects privacy. HIPAA privacy is incredibly important, but so is law enforcement, especially when it comes to saving lives. But this administration doesn't care. They are literally erasing unborn persons, which helps actually erase them physically in real life, because that's ultimately what the agenda is about.